Organizational culture. Anyone, can you unmute your mic and speak?
Okay, sir. Let's move on.
Okay, I hope you all with me. I'm not alone speaking. Right. So, concept of organizational culture. It's the organizational culture is a system of shared assumptions, values, and beliefs which govern how people behave in an organization. So, an organization culture is because the characteristics of tangible personality, and also this is originated within the organization itself, right? So even if we are not familiar with the companies like Google and Starbucks and so on, their names represent a taste of their workplace, attitude, and some protocols which is being practiced when it comes to interaction with the company values and all that. Because we usually deal with them, right? When we come across any issues with our Gmail account or anything like that, how many times you have contacted Gmail for any issues and complaints and inquiries? Practically 0 times, right? Because there is no issue at all. Everything is because they have a proper culture, proper system in place. They have everything in place. Therefore, the good attitude is there with the people in the organization. Things happen naturally. So the organizational culture is, this is something very tangible, and it can be deliberately designed and leveraged also. It's usually, it affects the moral of the employee engagement. It also governs the revenue rate and improve the influence the company performance, and that have effect on the profitability. So therefore, it is important for us to realize how critical is this to manage this the culture. So the definition, to look at, the culture is a unique dominant pattern of shared beliefs, assumption, and values, and the norms that shape the specialization, symbol, language, and the practices of group of the people. The culture is the unique dominant pattern of shared beliefs, assumptions, values, and norms that shape the specialization, symbol, language, and practices of a group of a people. The attitude and the approach that the way the staff carrying out their task, that specify. So there was a small spelling mistake out here. That specify the way the staff carrying out their task. The culture is developed and transmitted by the people, and concisely and unconcisely to subsequent generations. So those are the definitions. Now I want to talk about this cultural iceberg. There are 2 elements of it: observable elements of the culture, which normally talks about the characteristics which are appear to the casual observer, right? Other part is the non-observable part, which is the observable part, like the practices, languages, symbols, and all. When it comes to non-observable part, in terms of culture, where the interpretations, norms, values, assumptions, when it comes to how you interpret this, how core values are being reflected in a specific situation in a daily life, in terms of while you're working, while you're socializing, different companies have a different different people have a different way of handling. When it comes to socializing, some people wanted to drink and all that. Some people wanted to go for some long drive, and some people wanted to get into different activities. Some people wanted to be chill out with their girlfriend, wife, or alone. Different ways of enjoying their. And the core values, of course, how they learn the ideas, and what is what is most important for them, and all that. And it's talking about good and bad about it, and how they are desirable and undesirable, and how they are acceptable and non-acceptable, and so on. So these are some of the points when it comes to cultural iceberg. Now, managing of organizational culture, that means the organizational culture of a company constitutes of number of different values and attributes that dictate the way people working for that company and act and think and serve as an important tool in promoting unity and teamwork. I hope this does not require much explanation, because self-explanatory. The organizational culture of a company constitutes a number of different values and attitudes that dictate the way the people working for that company act and think and serve as an important tool in promoting unity and the teamwork. So it is all about how organization expect, especially the culture, because I will be covering the area that what sort of culture, organizational culture, and what is expected, and how this has been done, and all that, because that's a very important part for us to know and understand. That matters a lot, right? How you bring in the value and attributes to dictate the way the people working for that company, that really have an impact on the results, as well as how the organization wanted to move forward as well. But the culture is a system of informal rule that spells how people are to behave most of the time. It's Bill Kennedy has talked about it. Culture is an informal rule. So there is a company rule, there is a policy, but the culture is an informal one. But that tells you how people are to behave most of the time. So no matter whatever policy, whatever rules in place, it's a culture which is going to dominate how the people are going to behave in most of the time. So the organizational culture is some of the values and ritual which serve as a glue to integrate the members of the organization. Whether how you are going to bring in the value, and how are you going to serve as glue, and how are you going to integrate the members of the organization, it all depends on that organization culture. So if you try to change the culture to a different dimension, you will see that problem popping up in different ways. So I think today we are learning a very important session, because this is what we usually deal in our life on a daily basis, right? The 7 primary features of organizational culture. The organizational culture is it is communicated in a way that built in constructed in a hierarchical based system of assumptions, right? And then how you bring in that value, and then how you put this interpretation into the framework that can guide you to construct the organizational members as the way that you wanted them to perform their organizational roles, and then how they should be facing the challenges and the in the environment, right? If I I'll repeat again, because this organizational culture is constructed in most of the organization in traditionally the hierarchical way, with the assumption of value, and then using that value, what sort of value that we are going to get it, that they try to build a framework, right? So this is how it should be, but it is not written anywhere. There is no hard and fast rule. So this, you make these changes with these organizational members, how the way they perform their organizational roles, and then you create that sort of challenges for the environment. I hope you can understand what I am trying to say, right? This is usually happening in most of the organizations. If you talk to anyone, you will see the people, they try to create a different, I mean, they cannot change the rules. They cannot change the policy, but they try to change the culture based on the people's role and their responsibility, their position. Then accordingly, strategically, they try to bend it in such way that they try to achieve whatever they want. But in typical scenario, the primary features of the organizational culture are aligned with innovation and risk-taking. So, I mean, as an organization, that you should be focusing on how you, what is the organization supposed to do, what are you supposed to do, and how are you going to run the organization, and all that, which is, it is a survival that we are talking about in today's context. So in that point of view, how you wanted to look at your organization, innovation and risk-taking is one aspect of it, where up to what degree that employees are encouraged to be innovative and take risk. For you to drive that, you should have that culture. Because if they look at the paper, this is the roles and responsibility of mine. We have heard an accurate strike. You can't find fault with them. They come to work at 5, leave at 8, leave at 5. That's it. Or they come to work at 8 and leave at 4:30. So they are working for on time. This is my role, this is my responsibility, I'll finish it. But if you have that culture in innovating and risk-taking, if you can make that the employees are encouraged to be, that more innovative, and they should be able to take more risk. And then the attention in detail. That means that the degree, the level to which the employees are expected to exhibit their position, their ability, their precision, and the analysis, and what sort of attention they are getting into the details and all that. But if you don't get those things, that will create a huge issue in your real working environment. And then the third level of is the outcome orientation. Outcome orientation is where the degree to which management emphasize on outcome rather than skills and process of achieving those outcomes. They don't care what sort of issue, how you these things and all that. So all they focusing on this, what is the outcome, results. The fourth angle is the culture, is the people orientation. The people orientation is the degree to which the management focus on the people rather than outcome in the organization. Right? They wanted to make sure this person is secure. No blame come to this person. I will ensure I'll clear everything, whatever blame coming to this person. Or My team is important for me, no matter what happens to my business. My team is important for me because this consists of my family members. So I cannot tolerate my family members to be in trouble. I cannot sack anyone technically. So you take that position. That is called people orientation. Next one is the team orientation, where the degree to which the employees are encouraged to perform work as a team rather than the individual. Right? If you think that, no, I cannot work with this person, I cannot work with him, I will get it done for you. Some organizations, yes, that's the way they want it. Some organizations, no, that's not what I want. Let's everybody get together and face it, whatever outcome, we'll see it, let's cheer it up, enjoy, and let's go and have a fun after the work. That's the mode that some organizations want. That's a culture. Other type of is the aggressiveness. This is about the degree to which the people are aggressive and competitive rather than easygoing. Because they wanted the people to be very sharp and very competitive, somehow meet the target and get going, and then rather than say that, oh no, I'm not going to work like this. I have family, it's my holiday, it's my off time. Let's come back and see tomorrow. Come on. Yes, there are organizations who wanted to take the policy, but then again, it is the culture. If the culture of the organization is to go aggressive and get competitive, be competitive, and then get your things done rather than just say easy going, oh, I'm not going to do this. I'm off now. It's my lunchtime. I want to have a cup of tea. Let me have a small nap and come. If you are getting into the situation, culture is this and your behavior is this, then there's going to be huge problem, right? The last part is the stability. The stability is where up to what level, the degree which the organizational activities, they prefer to maintain a status quo in terms of where they contrast to grow, where they have to achieve. So I think you've got the idea of the feature of organizational culture. It is important for us to understand this. If we don't have this sort of visibility and understanding, we will end up with those sort of conflicting situations in the organization. Okay. Now, how to create the positive organizational culture? It emphasizes the following feature: the building on employee strength and rewarding more than punishing, emphasizing the vitality and growth of the employee, bring ideas into the action. And you should have a selection criteria through which others are brought into the organization. So it is very important for us to create a positive organizational culture. If you don't do it right, and it will have an impact on your culture, in the organization. That will have an impact on your performance, outcome, stability. Everything go for a toss. Then bring all the employees at a common platform. You cannot have different people working on a different platform or different viewpoint, and they think, okay, I'll be working like this. This one team think, no, I'm not going to bother about that. I have my way is highway. I'm not going to bother about how other people do it. I'm not going to bother about how previously done it. Then it is a problem. This culture decides the way the employees interact at their workplace, which extract the best out of each team member. The culture represents the predefined policies which guide the employees and give them the sense of direction at the workplace. Right? So let's look at the organizational the future, organizational future. It's typo there. Especially when it comes to when we look at the organizational culture of the future, when we look at this, now we are talking about digital transformation because we cannot sustain in the current era and also the future era without moving into the digitalization. So when we talk about digital transformation, the business landscape or any successful organization of the future is likely to be those organizations who can move faster, adapt quickly, and learn more rapidly, and embrace the dynamics which whatever the career demands are popping up. Especially the high-performing organizations which operate as an empowered network. They have those coordinated culture. They have all sort of information systems, and then they have all sort of talent available within the organization itself. Those organizations, they can focus on building that nearly all their activities, they should be able to bring all those activities and whatever the models that they wanted to bring in, because they are moving into those digital mode. It's easy for them to bring those new models into their organization. It is not only they are trying to build that new systems or the ecosystems, but they can also technically replace the organizational structure, the hierarchies. Typically, if you look at the traditional organizations, they have this hierarchy, right? So this modern organization, when you bring in this digitalization process, that removes that hierarchy slowly and gradually. And we have to see whether it is worthwhile doing that. Okay. So let's look at that, how this can have an impact and why organizations are designed to reach out to the top of the list as their most important trend as a global human capital trends. There is a survey done by I think Deloitte. Yeah, Deloitte. It is done, I think, a couple of years back. So what they find out here is they see that high performance organization, they operate is in a radically different way. Why I say radically different way? The way that they operate 10 years ago and now are completely changed. But still, the many organizations are still working on an industrial age mode, where they are still following that, having that mindset of we are 100 years old and more weighted towards the legacy systems and so on. So this study shows that 88% of survey respondents believe that building the organization of the future is an important or very important issue. %88 says that building the organization of the future is important. More than 3 in 5, the 59% says that issue is very important. A 3% increase from the last year. So 88% says important, 59% says very important. And the challenge is only 11% say survey respondents believe that they understand how to build the organization of future. This is the problem. Because 88% feel important, 59% feel very important, but only 11% believe they understand how to build this organization of the future. So that shows what sort of critical position we are into. This is done with the very large organization. So this is the problem that we are facing it today. The 4 qualities that we are talking about here, which help round out the definition of organizational culture. It reflects the employee experience and how they are determined whether the companies are going to win or lose. Here, every culture is unique. And there is no single right answer, because for different companies, they have a different way of handling things. Even if a different organization have the same goal of creating happy employee, how they are going to achieve that are definitely different. It's not the same way. The second is the culture gives us a clear guideline to finding potential employees who will be a good fit for our organization. When companies hire people who are more likely to thrive into those environments, they significantly increase their odds of success. So therefore, finding the potential employee is very, very crucial. You cannot just come to the conclusion by taking the odd success, because it would have been a one-time success, but they may not be able to succeed in the long run. Third one is the cultures are like fluid life, and it's like it's growing organically. You cannot build that culture artificially. It has to come on its own. They need to be grown and nurtured like any relationship, and sometimes the culture which evolves as external factors that can alter their culture, or as an organization simply grows and they can expand it, right? So if the mission of the organization changes, the culture might need to be adjusted to the mission too. Because you cannot just be relaxed if you're an organization who is into people-oriented. When the situation like COVID today, can you say that my people are important for me? I don't care whatever the business loss that I have, whatever the revenue loss that I have, I want to safeguard my employee. Any organization took that decision, tell me, one single organization. You would find one or two exceptions. If you go into the detail roots of that organization, probably the leaders, they don't care about the success of the organization. They only care about, that their success, not about the overall organization. For them to be success, they need those people to be in place. So therefore, it is important for us to understand. And the last fourth one, which is some organization, they can raise their internal culture to become part of their external identity. And they set themselves apart. And when we think about the companies like Facebook and the Googles and any example like Uber, Amazon, see what those brands are straight reflection of the energy and spirit that found inside the company itself. The internal culture is distinguish them and power their financial success. So that is most important part for us to, a point for us to understand. How organizations are adopting to the innovative technologies and so on, especially when organizations grow and they adopt to the innovative technology and the practices, they happen to be the globalization of business, which is going to increase for them. The current development requires from the organization to not only to react to the trends, but also to proactively work on and start internally. The way the high-performing organizations run today is radically different from how they operated 10 years ago, right? And they are also kind of had these legacy practices and the behaviors, and they must be, in fact, they would have discarded some of those attitude and policies and the culture they had around to come up to that level. The change which took place in that organization, if they haven't changed the culture, that traditional organization would have not become a successful organization today. The organization, they should set up a flexible organizational governance structure centered around the agile methods. You cannot make the change over the night. You have to set it up, benchmarks, and reach one place and then take a step and then reach the next step. Like a network of team grouped by a product functionality and technical domains and operational readiness and all sort of leaders and with the authority to approve financial decisions. These are the fundamental thing for the organization to be, that bring that innovative technology, innovative culture into the organization. Then the last part, where how the organization should both hire the new recruits and talents, and they assign the current employees to the change program. Because you cannot expect the existing people to change to the new dimensions. You have to bring in the new people in, and then you train the internal people to change to the new culture that you want at this time. You can empower them by letting them making decisions in the best interest of the change program. That way you can have little or no influence from the legacy organizations. So otherwise it is going to be always difficult for you to, that put them into the right track.